We're on Shabbat, Perek Kaf Gimel Mishnah Hey, 5th Mishnah in the 23rd chapter of Shabbat. Okay, we're in the last Mishnah. The last Mishnah we talked about the idea of lachshoch ala derech, machshichin ala tchum. In order to, you have to go toward the edge of the tchum at night, al iskei meit. One of the reasons you could do that was if somebody died and you have to prepare for the funeral, then you have to go towards the end of the tchum Shabbat in order to prepare, to be ready after Shabbat ends, and that's for a Devar Mitzvah, so you're allowed to do that. So now our Mishnah is going to discuss what happens if a person dies on Shabbat. So, and what's the halacha of the person who died? Says the Mishnah, Osin called sarkei hamet. You're allowed to do all the things that are necessary, okay, for a mate, for the body of a person who passed away on Shabbat. What are they? Sachin, you can anoint the body with oil. Umidichin oto, you can wash it. You can wash the body. You can wash it. Ubilvad shelo yazizu bo aver, but you're not allowed to move an aver, move a limb, because it's muktzah. Okay, let's look at the Bartenura for a second. What does he say? You're allowed to pokakin the kavav. You're allowed to stop up the holes, the edifices. Sotmim the kavav leyonim va'atochnim bebeged. You can stop them up with a cloth or with shum davar or with nothing else. Kedei shelo tikanes behem ruach v'yitpach. So that the wind won't come in, so that air shouldn't come in, and the person yitpach should become inflated. Ubilvad sheyaziz bo aver, as long as you don't move a limb. Shelo yitaltel, you should move it. V'yakbir, pick it up. Lo yadov raglo v'lo riseinav. You can't even move its eyelids, the body's eyelids. She'asur litaltel hamet o aver ma'averav. You can't. Litaltel means to move. Okay. Af al pi shemutar ligabo. Even though you're allowed to touch it, you say, "Oh, it's muktzah, I can't touch it." It's a misunderstanding of muktzah. That's exactly what the Bartenura says. V'chein kol muktzah, any muktzah, mutar b'negi'ah, v'asur b'tiltul. You're allowed to touch it. You're not allowed to move it. But an egg, he says, a beitzah shenolda b'Shabbat or b'Yom Tov. If an egg was laid on Shabbat or Yom Tov, it's muktzah from return because it's nolad. It did not exist. Why is an egg muktzah? An egg is muktzah because you couldn't have had it in mind before Shabbat. So therefore, it's you can't touch it. Afilu b'negi'ah. Asura afila b'negiah, you're not allowed to touch it. Why? Shemipnei kadubita, because of its roundness. Negiatazu with tiltula. If you touch it, it will move. But if I have something else, if I have anything else, if I touch it, I can touch it. I just can't move it. And that's a misunderstanding of muktzah to say you can't touch things that are muktzah. You can touch them. You can't move them. So similarly here, you can touch the body, but you can't move it. We're going to see there's a way of moving it as well. Shomtim et hakar mitachtav. You're allowed to take out the pillow, or generally in their times people were lying on the floor. Umetin oto al hachol, and you place the body on the chol, on the dirt under it. Bishvil shiyamtin, because they have to wait until after Shabbat in order to bury the body, and they didn't want it with the kar mitachtav. Why did they want it in the kar mitachtav? V'nimtza mutar la'alachonim, leave it on the ground. Okay, why do you want it? Bishvil shiyamtin. So you wait. Shelo yasriach machmat chol masidinim v'akarim. So the body won't become sour, i.e., it's gonna, remember, there's no refrigeration. They have to leave the body. So especially if you live here in Israel, you know the coolest thing in the room is the floor, is the ground. I actually think it's very interesting that there's a minhag that most people don't know this because they're not aware. Okay, so this idea of matilino to alachol, it was an ancient custom of placing the body on the ground until they buried it. Why? Because they didn't want the body to become rancid. So if you look in there's a lot of sources. I just found a couple of sources for halachically, this idea of caring for the dead. Okay, this is from Judaism 101, but this is a custom. Okay, after a person dies, the eyes are closed. The body is laid on the floor and covered. This is it's a minhag. I've heard of it. The body on the floor. And even if you go to a website from the Chevra Kadisha of Haifa, they say, B'yom Chol, on a weekday, it means I can make this a little bigger, even a little bigger, on Chol, Moridin et Grufat Niftar L'Ritzpah, you put the body on the ground, okay? On Shabbat, Meit b'Shabbat, they said, Hu Muktzah, this is from our Mishnah, V'lachein, Tiltul HaMeit, Efshari, how do you move the body? Rak la'achar shinchu alav kli shel heter. Only if you put a kli shel heter on it, like a sidur, a piece of bread. So you put a piece of bread on there, and then you put the bread on it, and then it becomes a basis. The body becomes a basis ledavar hamutar or Maridin Gufata Niftar Levitzpah, and then you put the body on the ground. Very interesting. I don't know if I would, we should ask a posek if you would do that or not, but it's interesting that it appears in the Chaber Kadisha. The minhag of putting somebody's body on the ground is so important that you use the basis, you put a sitter on the body. I'm going to ask around and see if that's common custom. But that's all based on our Mishnah of, you put it on the ground, alacho bishvish yamtin. Koshrin et alecha, you can tie up the cheeks, lo sheya'aleh, not so that it will be closed, not so that to seal the cheeks, ela shelo yosif, so that it doesn't, the jar doesn't open more. V'chein, similarly, and on a relevant topic, v'chein korash nishbara, if a beam of the house is breaking, somchim ota b'safsal o ba'arukot amita, you could put a bench there, or you could put the bed frame under it, lo shetale, you're not allowed to fix things, that's boneh. Ela shelo tosif, rather, you're afraid, you don't want the beam of the house is starting to buckle, so you could put something there as a brace. You shouldn't pick it back up, but you're not picking it back up, but you want to put something there so that it won't continue to buckle anymore, and that could be dangerous. So you're allowed to prevent something from getting worse. Next halacha. Ein me'amtzin et hamet b'Shabbat. La'ametz, let's look at the Bartunura. Me'amtzin et einav. You don't close his eyes, even afilu la'achar yetziat nafesh, even after the soul has left the body. Ta'havalei meziz ever, because that's moving a limb. So let's go back to the Mishnah. Ein me'amtzin et hamet b'Shabbat. V'lo b'chol im yetziat nafesh. You don't close someone's eyes im yetziat nafesh. When the soul is leaving, when a person is still alive, the last breath, you don't close their eyes. Why? If you close someone's eyes when at the time that he's dying, that's shofech damim, that's murder. Why? Because you are bringing about anything you do can cause somebody to be dead. That can hasten the death. When a person's at the end of life, any last thing that you do can be dangerous to that person. And therefore, the Mishnah says, it's considered like you're murdered. It doesn't matter that the person's on his last legs of life. Even that last second has Kedusha, and we don't touch the person. That's halacha l'maisa. We don't touch a person when he's on his last legs, when he's of life, because that could bring about hasten his death even for a second. We'll stop here. If you have any comments or questions, as always, email me here at arspoto@gmail.com. And we'll dedicate our learning to the memory of my father, Rav Simcha ben Yitzchak Kalman. Have a good day.